up, fam? This is Donald from the Pinstripe Chronicles, and I got my brother Rob with me, and we will be breaking down some stuff about Juan Soto. It's going to be a heavyweight battle between the New York owners. I want to say a big salute to everyone in the chat who's here bright and early. And happy Monday, everybody. Happy start to the new week. The offseason will start getting going now. It'll, maybe a couple weeks. We should start getting some exciting stuff happening, which we'll be obviously breaking down. But at the moment, the big conversation is Juan Soto. It's going to be the conversation of the offseason because it all comes down to this. This is it. And it looks like it's going to be a heavyweight battle between both New York owners, but I would never, ever count out the Dodgers because the Dodgers seems to be like the Yankees banana skin now. They just love to they love to piss us off. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get involved in everyone that we're going to look at in this offseason. I would not be surprised at all. But salute to everyone in the chat. Who we got in the chat? So everybody say hello so we can shout you out. We got Jonathan in there. Good morning, Jonathan. Happy Monday. Hope you have a good week. Jacob, salute to you, Jacob. Ken, what's up, Kenny? Ken. Stevie B, what up, Stevie B? Aaron Rodgers is overrated. You're not going to get any argument from me. And you wouldn't get any argument from Eli Manning either, because he always took care of Aaron Rodgers as well. And FJ, salute FJ. Gregory Wayne, what is up, Gregory Wayne? Soto will only be a Yankee if he wants to be a Yankee. Salute, Gregory. That's probably facts. Damian Serrano, what is up? And salute. This guy deserves a special shout out. This guy is our first member of the Pinstripe Chronicles family. Brad, salute to you, Brad. Welcome to the family. Why don't you guys in the chat take up Brad's lead and join the family, and be delighted to have you. John the Beagle Dad, salute to you. Lou, salute to you. Damian Serrano, salute to you, Damian. Salute to Stevie B. What is going on? FJ, what's FJ got to say here? Why does Hal have to meet with Juan Soto personally? Good, because that's exactly what we're going to be breaking down. Nosebleed, salute to Nosebleed, NFE, Medina. It's the usual suspects. It's the gang. Everybody hit the like button for the channel. It'll certainly do us some good. And don't forget, check out the sub button if you haven't already done so, and hit the membership button and check us out. If you really would love to, we would certainly love to have more members very, very soon, because we've got some exciting things happening with this channel, and some exciting things for our members too. So we'll be excited about the future of this channel, and we'll be excited about the future of Juan Soto. Rob, how are you doing, brother? Did you have a good weekend?
Sure did, aside from football, but it feels like all the news surrounding this New York Yankee team is the meetings that are being set up with Juan Soto between these owners. It's Cohen versus Hal, and to answer that question earlier, I think that's exactly why Hal has to go meet with Juan Soto, because Steve Cohen is going to do it, and Hal's got to show Soto that he wants him back. It can't just be the GM and the manager and Aaron Judge. He's got to be involved in this. He was heavily involved in the trade. He was heavily involved in the Aaron Judge re-signing. So I feel like Hal has to be a part of this, and I'm very glad that he did it almost immediately after the news came out about Cohen. Hal's like, hey, he's serious about this, and we knew he would be. This is going to be an all-out battle for potentially, well, he is a generational player, but possibly the best player in the sport, one of the best players, top 3 for sure. And it's a generational talent that's hitting free agency. You have to go all out and show the guy that you want to keep him here for the rest of his career. So I think it's important. And yeah, NFE formality for sure, because if he didn't meet with Juan Soto, I think that'd be a bad look. So could it be a formality? Could it be just he's trying to show Juan Soto that, hey, I may just be the owner, but we need you back. So what's it going to take? And we don't know what's going to happen in these meetings. They're supposed to happen at some point this week, but this is kind of where things are going to start now, because I don't know how many dominoes are going to fall until Juan Soto signs. And that could be much like Ohtani last year. Once he signed, things started to get in motion. this could be that domino. If once he's signed, wherever it may be, the rest of free agency will kind of fall in place. It's like the league is waiting. So the first round of this battle is finally starting to take place with these meetings with Soto and the ownership.
Rob, do you think? Well, first of all, how would you assess um, the battle between the owners for one, and two, explain to some people because for some reason there are some people like in social media that are wondering why the Yankees are going to California. So could you maybe explain like why it's a good thing and B where the Yankees stand with in the whole owner battle?
You're going right to him. Where are
Yeah,
you? We'll go talk to you. We'll come meet up with you personally. It's kind of like when you got a good buddy that you haven't seen in a while, but you're across the country, and it's like, I'll come to you. Don't worry, because you got to go see your buddy. Well, you got to go see Juan Soto. So it's not like, hey, we'll talk to you when you come back to New York. If you come back to New York, we'll meet up. No, it's like, hey, we want to get this done as soon as possible. Wherever you are, we're gonna come find you. We're gonna come talk to you. So he's in California. We're gonna go to California. They did it last year with Yamamoto. That's how serious they were. So it's just more so showing that you're serious about this player. You're gonna go meet with him no matter where he is. If he was like vacationing somewhere in Puerto Rico, I don't know if they would go visit him in Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. But the fact that he's in the country,
I would.
I mean, they could easily go wherever he is and go meet up with him. So I think it's just more so we want to come to you, we want to talk, we want to get these negotiations going as fast as possible so we can know where we stand in this whole battle because we know it's a two-team battle. And that's true, Brad, you're right.
I agree. You're spot on. This is good business. It doesn't matter whether you're the owner of the Yankees or you're owner of any business. If you are trying to take on a client, you have to show uh, you have to show the requisite interest, or the client could go elsewhere. It's the same as any business, any walk of life. You have to show that desire, and if what's that saying? The early bird catches the worm. I mean, if you go and you just like chill about it, you could lose them. You could lose them. You have to show why the Yankees are the place to go. And we just have to take ourselves out of it as fans, right? As fans, we know what the Yankees are, of course, right? They're the biggest organization in the world, bar none. Most successful one, bar none. Absolutely, we get all that, but it's a different era now. This is not this is not your father's Yankees. This is not your grandfather's Yankees. Unfortunately, this is the new Yankees, and they haven't won a World Series since 2009. In fact, they've won as many World Series as the Marlins and the Rangers have since then. So let's we can't just overrate ourselves. This is a it's a and you also have to show Juan Soto why he would give up the rest of his career to be here. Are we going to put the team around him? Are we going to have the right structure in place, the right management structure in place? There's going to be questions that have to be asked and have to be answered. What we know about Queens is although they don't have the cachet, they don't have the fan base, they don't have any of that, right? But what they do have is an owner which will put the whole thing around Juan Soto and will spend whatever it takes. I mean, I already went through the stats the last time. The Mets spend about 88% of the revenue on their payroll. Like they go all in. That's what they do. So um, we have to show that we have that same level of desire. So it's only good business. You don't want a situation where Cohen courts Juan Soto over an entire weekend, wines, dines, and convinces him, and then by the time Hal goes to talk to him, maybe things have changed. So Hal's doing the right thing. Rob, what do you think?
No, you're absolutely right. He has to go and show that he wants him back because and I want to clear things up, Frank. I didn't mean like they can't go out of the country. I mean, if Juan Soto's on vacation, you're not going to bug the guy on his vacation. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, if he's like, I'm in Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic with my family trying to enjoy some off time, you're not going to go fly there and go bug the guy. I didn't say they can't go to the Dominican Republic, but you have to. If he's here, You got to meet with him. You got to get the ball rolling quickly because the early bird does get the worm, and this is a worm that you just simply cannot let go. You can't let this guy leave because there is you have a very hard time telling me there's a actual plan B for Juan Soto. You have to keep this guy here. The Mets would be very smart to do whatever it takes to get that guy over there because that's a franchise changing player. You saw how much he meant to the Yankees. They were a non-playoff team, and then they were a World Series team with Juan Soto. Like, you have to keep this guy around. So it's all about selling what you're going to do with him on the team, because you can't just be like, hey, we made the World Series with you, we can go back and win it again. It's not that simple. You got to prove to Juan Soto you're serious about building a team along with him that can sustain the winning and get back and hopefully win a championship. Can you sell him on unfinished business? Can you say, hey, we're going to maneuver some money around a little bit so we can get X player, or we can try to bring in a Christian Walker, things of that nature? So you have to show them that you're serious. You can't just say, hey, man, we want you back. You played here last year. That should be enough. No, because he can tell you, well, I was one of 3 people that actually performed well in the lineup. How are you going to tell me that things are going to be better next year with a very similar team? You can't. So you got to have to sell him. You got to pitch him like you've never had him before, basically. You got to treat him like he's a free agent that's never been a Yankee, and try to give him a reason to be like, you're serious about this. Let's go win a championship. Because the Mets could easily sign him and get like 2 or 3 other premier free agents and still stay under that threshold. That's how much money he's come off the books. The Mets are a very, very serious threat to this. And that's why Hal Steinbrenner has to put his foot on the gas, full court press, and make sure he does not stop at anything to keep this guy here. Now, does he have to have a number in mind? Sure. I think every team's going to have a number where they just simply won't go over. But if it's like $50 million a year gets the job done, I don't think you can say no to that, because the Yankees can clear money in other ways. They have to. If Soto gives you a I'll sign for X amount of money, if it's like $50 million, you might have to say yes. If he just wants above what Ohtani got, what is that, 47 technically? So I don't know how you stop at that. I think you have to put your foot on the gas, full court press, best foot forward, all those analogies, and you just gotta go and do what it takes. But an early meeting shows that you're serious about this, because had they waited like 2 weeks from now, like, oh, we'll talk to you at the winter meetings, don't worry, might be too late.
Mm-hmm. Frank Rivera says, I give Soto a deadline because if he strings you along, then you have to scramble to plan B. Rob, what did you say to that?
I agree to a point. Just when is that deadline, Frank? Because again, when Soto signs, then things are going to start moving. I don't think you're going to see too much movement until, because what has happened so far? Nothing. Like Kyle Hendricks signed somewhere. There's been a couple of minor league signings and trades, but nothing significant has happened yet. And I don't think it will until you see Soto come off the books, because Soto's going to set the market for these other hitters. Soto will set the market for guys like Alonso and Santander and things, and Christian Walker, and then whatever pitcher signs first will set the market for the rest of the pitching market. So I think the Yankees can play the waiting game a little bit, but at the same time, if he's taken too long, you might have to, if it goes past the meetings, the winter meetings, you might have to be like, all right, let's see what else is out there, because it's kind of similar to what happened last year when they got turned down by Yamamoto. They immediately went to the next one. They tried to get Snell. He said no. They didn't waste any time. They went and got Stroman. So you might have to scramble a little bit, but what is that deadline really? Is it the winter meetings? Is it January 1st? If he's not signed by then, do you say, we got to get moving here? So it depends on when your deadline is.
I certainly wouldn't have an early one. I think it'd be semi disrespectful to Juan Soto if you put a deadline on him that's unrealistic. I mean, if you want to put a Christmas deadline, fine, but really you just have to respect the process, because this is a free agent process, and Juan Soto needs to feel like he's going to do his thing. He's going to want to talk to other teams. He's made that clear. We're not free agents. We've never been a free agent, but certain players like the process. They like the opportunity to be courted, and they like the opportunity to choose their next destination for the next 10 to 15 years. It's a big commitment, right? I mean, you just have to appreciate that it's going to be a little different. So the Yankees have to respect the process a little bit. And but what one thing is absolutely certain here. Um, that shouldn't preclude the Yankees from doing the rest of their business. Juan Soto wouldn't preclude the Yankees from going and getting a first baseman. I'm sorry, right? I mean, the Yankees aren't the Tampa Bay Rays. They can afford to get a first baseman plus Juan Soto. So they need to obviously have a budget in mind as to right what's the maximum, absolute maximum that we can go with Juan Soto, and with that in mind, how much money is left over for a first base, and then you use that to go and target the market. So we shouldn't just be waiting for Juan Soto. Then after Juan Soto, wherever that happens, then the Yankees scramble. No, 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 no. The Yankees need to go and have a plan right now, and I absolutely fully expect that the Yankees do have a plan right now. Right, which first baseman do we target? You know, do we go in the trade market? Do they go after Christian Walker? One of these things, or do you go for a lower free agent and then you trust our farm system, Rice or whatever? So there's going to be these conversations, but one thing this they shouldn't Juan Soto's thing should be separate from first base slash third base. It should be completely separate, and that's where I'm at. Rob, would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think that it means they're going to go sign Christian Walker today or anything. I still think they're going to look at the trade market for first base because if you look at our guys that are coming on arbitration, a few of them can be non-tendered. Like realistically, you don't have to bring Trent Grisham back. John Birdie, you can have Caleb Durbin fill that role. If we're being quite honest,
Hmm.
Tim Meza could make like $4 million. Do you want him back for $4 million? No. You can let some of these guys go. Trevino, even you can try to move some of these players and save some money and fill those needs with the
Mhm.
farm system. And that would clear up some money. If you trade Marcus Stroman, that clears another $18 million. So you can do those things, add to the roster, and then still get Juan Soto. So you can
Fact.
absolutely make moves. I don't think anything significant is going to happen until the Soto move happens. That's what I'm saying. Is I don't think we're going to see any. I don't think it's like, well, the Yankees signed Pete Alonso and then that's not going to happen before Juan Soto. I don't see that happening. If we're being perfectly honest, and maybe Sasaki. Like if they somehow got Sasaki, I can see that happening before Juan Soto because that's just an international move. So,
Fact.
and you have a month to make that happen. But I
Rob,
don't
what
think
about
anything significant.
NFE's question to you? Durbin starting second for 2025. What do you think?
Uh, no. Um, I think he's probably a all around super utility guy. I think he has a chance to win it, but assuming that they have Jazz go back to second, or even if he plays third still, I think Peraza's got the inside track to that because it's now or never for Peraza. Plus, I feel like I know they like Durbin, but the fact that Durbin plays everywhere tells me that they kind of want him to play that John Birdie role. That guy can play everywhere.
Yeah, I mean we've got Durbin. There's Peraza up in the air. There's a couple of infielders to discuss. For me, I think Jazz Chisholm needs to be playing second base. I think that's his. I think he's more natural there, personally. Um, so I think the Yankees need to really target the corner infield spots. If the Yankees can upgrade both corner infielders, I think they'll be in good shape because the infield was a mess this past year, and they need to have guys playing their natural positions. Jazz Chisholm is a better second baseman than he is a third baseman. It just shows his athletic ability that he actually played third base pretty well. His metrics were pretty good. But if the Dodgers are scouting and saying that Jazz Chisholm as a relay guy was just standing around doing nothing, is kind of interesting. It speaks to the Yankees' lack of management and coaching, but we already know about that. And two, I just don't think Jazz Chisholm is necessarily that comfortable. So I think he'd be more comfortable at second base, and then you get a proper third baseman in there, proper first baseman in there, and I think that would be the areas to upgrade. And I think we could probably talk about that in the next few minutes, which infielders to target and how we should go about that. Because there's not a lot more than that we can discuss about Juan Soto. We have to see how the negotiations go. But let's do you know what? Let's ask everybody in the chat. Let's ask Rob. Out of 10, what is your confidence that Juan Soto will be a Yankee once it's all said and done? Let's start with Rob.
I had it at a 10 because I don't see a way the Yankees let this guy walk. So I'm gonna keep it there. Maybe it's just psychosis. I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm being an idiot, but I feel like I just don't see a scenario where the Yankees can realistically let him walk and then sell the fan base that they're serious about winning. So I kind of have to keep that positivity up because I'm seeing a lot of fives. I'm seeing some sevens. I see a 0 by Gregory. So I kind of have to I have to try to be positive here. I don't think there's any scenario. Thank you, Aaron Rodgers, overrated. I love your name, and thank you for putting a 10 there. So I'm not the only one thinking 10.
It's kind of all over the place. Like there's some, like I read an article. I can't remember where. I wonder if I can dig it out. Where there's a Yankee executive that says if it purely comes down to money, then Juan Soto will be a Yankee. Which says to me that Hal Steinbrenner does not have a budget in mind with Soto, and that he's going to go all in, which is a great sign. If Now, obviously, it's an unnamed Yankee executive, but that's the belief. Um, so if he believes that, then that's a good sign for us. It's a great sign for us. That means that there isn't really a budget in mind that they're going to go all in for Juan Soto. It means that they're going to compete with the Mets. So if it purely comes down to money, then the Yankees should get it. But we don't know what Juan Soto's thinking. We don't. In my opinion, I think that the thing that might sway Juan Soto in our direction is less to do with the personnel around him and more to do with the rapport that he had with the Yankee fan base. And I give the Yankee fan base an A+ for all the stuff that they did in the right field bleachers beside Juan Soto, chanting his name, all that stuff. And Juan Soto's so freaking cool that he had a rapport with the fans, and then there was a really cool relationship between those two things. I think that might edge that in our favor, right? I do. But the things that could maybe worry him would be the fact that we were so reliant on him, and that should be kind of a worry for him. I mean, let's look at it. The Yankees got Garrett Cole. It was meant to be their white whale. It was meant to be their everything. They got Aaron Judge, who just come off a 62 home run season and MVPs and things like that. So you've got these stars. You've got Big G, who's heading to Monument Park now with the way that he's playing in October. His numbers are absolutely insane in October now. So you've got all those factors in your favor, yet somehow the Yankees seem kind of lost. They've still not won a World Series since 2009. They've not even. This is the first time they've been to a World Series since 2009, and it's a lot of it is because their structure's all over the place, their management's a little bit all over the place, and there's some real problems here. The Yankees had guys playing out of position all year, and it almost felt to me like the Yankees had to get their stars to carry them over the line if they were to have any shot, because the Dodgers kind of made an ass out of them, right? I mean, am I being overly critical? I don't think so.
No, because they had the blueprint. How to beat the Yankees was just to let the Yankees beat the Yankees. You didn't need a blueprint. You just let the Yankees do what the Yankees do best, which is ironically, what they do worse, which is play the game of baseball. So
right,
they just let the Yankees be the Yankees, and they imploded as they said they would. And I think it's sad that we're still we're talking about it this way. Had we lost the series but fought hard, I don't think any of us would be this down. But the fact that we lost that game the way they did, and we're still hearing about it to this day, it's demoralizing. It's like, how can you have made the World Series, but your opponent's like disrespecting you like that? Like, because they didn't just beat us; they wiped the floor with us. If we're being honest, they gave us
Pissed
a
all over
game.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us a game on a bullpen game, and then they said, even down 5-0, just wait, they'll implode, and they did. And that's like the ultimate sign of disrespect because I really like the Dodgers. I like their team. I like a lot of their players. I don't like
I
Joe
do
Kelly.
too.
I never liked that guy. Even when he was with the Red Sox, I always thought he was a piece of shit. I don't know why he was yapping because he didn't play, but he's right. Everything he said was right. He wasn't wrong. So I really just don't know what they're going to do. Like, are they going to tell Juan Soto everyone's going to be back from last year?
Sucks.
Is that going to make him want to stay? Because again, it was just a kind of a broken system. Nobody was playing in position. The defense was atrocious. The base running was atrocious. The GM thinks it was great. Does Juan Soto want to come back to that? If you're Hal Steinbrenner, you might have to sell this dude that we're going to make some changes internally, and that might sway his decision because the Mets have the ingredients to be a very, very good team for a long time. But they have to worry about dealing with the Dodgers every year because the Dodgers ain't going anywhere. That's a juggernaut. The Yankees have a bit of an easier path to a championship
We actually do.
opportunity every year. A much weaker American League. So Juan Soto said it's not about money necessarily, it's about winning. The Yankees have a better chance at selling him at being in the championship every year, but he might like the challenge of trying to get over the Dodgers hump with the Mets and being able to stay in New York while doing it. It's all up to what Juan Soto wants, but you're going to have to make some changes internally.
That's it. I completely agree. I mean, if you look at it, because again, it's important as a channel that we don't do the whole gung ho blah 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 Yankees Yankees Yankees. You have to take a step back and look at it objectively, right? Uh, Objectively, you could say that the Yankees were weaker than every National League team in the playoffs this year. I had the Padres above us. I have the Mets above us. Certainly, obviously, the Dodgers above us. I I had them. I had the Yankees behind all those teams. Right? Why? No, not because of talent, but because of the way that the Yankees are managed, and it's been a problem. And to be honest, the Yankees didn't even play very well during the playoffs. We skated by on the back of Big G and Juan Soto. They pulled us out of some really questionable bits, right? And here's another aspect that has to worry you, right? Um, Garrett Cole pitched some of the most amazing baseball in the World Series. He pitched amazing. Both games. The Yankees didn't win either. Right? He pitched amazing and the Yankees didn't win. Right? It has to be pretty scary. So he pitched amazing. You had Stanton doing crazy things. You did Soto doing amazing things. And the Yankees still didn't win. So no, the Dodgers didn't get lucky. The Dodgers had a plan for everything the Yankees did. You know, that's it. They were like, just put the ball in play. The Yankees will screw up. And then you have Brian Cashman afterwards saying, I think everything's great. And that right there is the reason why this Yankee team isn't going anywhere right now. Right? John the Beagle Dad says, we were well scouted. Right. And what did the Yankees do to scout the Dodgers? I want to ask that question. We all know what the Dodgers did to scout the Yankees. But how did the Yankees scout the Dodgers? Because the Yankees didn't seem to go after their weaknesses. You know, the Dodgers have a weakness in their starting rotation. The Yankees didn't exploit it. The Yankees could have taken advantage of certain areas, but they didn't. They didn't exploit it. They just kept pitching to Freddie Freeman in his hot zone. Kept pitching him up and inside where he loves to have it, right in his wheelhouse. And they kept doing it. So I want to know exactly what the Yankees were scouting. because the Dodgers scouted the shit out of the Yankees and made us look like an embarrassment. So it's really important, us as fans, we take a step back and we have to be objective about it. This is not your father's Yankees, it's not your grandfather's Yankees.
It's
This is
not
a
even our
Yankees.
Yankees.
This is not even our Yankees. Spot on. It's not even the thousands Yankees. This is a Yankee organization which seem very comfortable with themselves. They're very comfortable about everything. As long as they pay to have some stars, and then they've got Yankee Stadium filled out every single night, and the Yankees make the playoffs. I think that's pretty much where they're happiest. I think they're just perfectly happy with that. They're perfectly content with that because you never see any criticism. Brian Cashman never criticized them. Brian Cashman said that there was nothing that he would criticize about Aaron Boone's World Series management. Nothing. So there has to be something that Yankee fans should be very worried about this, regardless of Juan Soto. It goes so much deeper than Juan Soto. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, we can go on for hours complaining about this stuff. We've done that. We've been talking about this for 4 years on this channel. We know that there's issues, and until they make some of those changes, I feel like it's just a moot point. But you're right about everything, because until they make those changes, it's going to be a lot of what we've already seen. Until they finally realize that they're the problem with the way they are operating, it could be more of the same, or maybe this World Series opened a few eyes from ownership. Maybe Hal Steinbrenner's like, yeah, I got to step in and do something about this, because letting Cashman run the show has clearly not he got us close this year, but he didn't get us the ultimate goal. So I don't know if they don't care about winning, because how much more money did they make just by going to the playoffs, just by going to the World Series this year? They made so much more money. So the Yankees are like, hey, we can make even more if we keep doing that. What a concept. If we do what the teams did back in the 90s and just keep winning and going to the World Series every year or getting close, we're going to bring in so much more money. So I think it's about, hopefully what this season did was it opened Hal's eyes to make sure that Juan Soto is back, and then you can sell the fan base that you're serious about this. Fans will show up. They'll probably be a playoff team and more than likely be in the running for another pennant. That's just the way things work. So I want to see what we're getting here from Roy. If Soto was a slam dunk, as some suggest, then why hasn't Soto sat down with Cashman and said, this much money in years and I am in? Is it ego? They did meet at some point this season. Hal and Soto did, so I'm not sure if it's an ego thing. We know Cashman's got an ego, but I think even Brian Cashman is like, I have to keep this guy around, because Cashman spoke very highly, and we mentioned this all season long. The way the Yankees operate, they do not, and I'm by myself, they do not talk with players during the season. They were second-guessing that all year when it came to Juan Soto. They wanted to keep this guy around, that they were willing to have conversations with him in season. So I think they want the Yankees. The Yankees want Juan Soto back. I think Juan Soto wants to stay with the Yankees, but at the same time, if they're not going to make a few changes here and there, it's just like, do I come back to the same situation that I was already in? So there's that. The changes needed in culture and management? You're absolutely right, Gregory. Let's see. It's his agent. Yeah, you still got to deal with Scott Boras. If the Yankees had won the series, you wouldn't hear crap about Boone or Cashman from anyone. We were giving Aaron Boone as much praise as we possibly could for most of this season. And in the playoffs as well. You cannot tell me that World Series was well managed by Aaron Boone. You just simply can't. Had they won, it would have been a much better managed World Series, because we were giving that guy praise for like the first half of the season. Go back and watch our award show. 9s, 10s across the board. But when the going got tough, his management took a nosedive. And he was almost perfect in the first 2 rounds. Until that Nestor Cortez move, it's like things just started to... And he wasn't terrible. I don't want to say he was terrible in the World Series. But that one move of Nestor Cortez was like... That changed the entire series. Because had he just gone to Tim Hill, the guy that had been there all postseason getting the job done, we may have stolen Game 1, and who knows how differently that season goes. And I didn't have much to criticize Brian Cashman for this year as well. I said he had a great offseason. He brought us Soto. I love the Verdugo trade, despite Verdugo's numbers not being very good. He added to the bullpen, even though that moves didn't work out, but I couldn't complain about getting Gonzalez and Ferguson. I thought they were going to be two good additions. He had a great offseason. It was his deadline that I didn't like too much, outside of Chisholm. So obviously, if they won, we wouldn't be complaining because they would have won a World Series and would have shut us up. But they lost, and they lost pretty embarrassingly. So naturally, it's going to make us have to pinpoint some of these issues within the organization, and it starts with the GM and the fact that they're continuing to keep the guy around. I don't hate Aaron Boone. I don't. I just don't know how many times you can give this guy a second chance. It's just like now it's a second, third, fourth, fifth chance. He just had his best season. Yeah, this was his best season. There's 1 year left. I was not surprised at all they kept him around. But if they get bounced out in the first round next year and they keep him, then we've got a real issue here. Because I don't think this postseason was terribly managed. It was really that one move. Unfortunately, that one move may have cost us a chance to win this thing.
So, I mean, it wasn't just the one move. There was a couple of other moves that were just so bad. But in general, you're right. I mean, I think he managed the postseason better than he'd managed previous postseasons. It's just I want to know where the accountability is. If the Yankees are okay with being embarrassed on an international stage, and the Yankees embarrassed themselves in a World Series, and I'm not seeing any kind of accountability about it. I mean, I'm sorry, but any other organization with even just a little bit of accountability would have had somebody come out and say something, because they are getting absolutely dog walked around the media. I mean, they are getting ripped, guys. They are getting ripped. They are. Teams are ripping the Yankees. The Yankees are being laughed at, right? And I mean, you even saw it yesterday during the NFL. Somebody was laughing. One of the announcers were like, "Oh, dude had Alvin Kamara had an Aaron Judge moment." Now there are like, I mean, you had people laughing about the way that the Dodgers spoke about the Yankees. I mean, this would never happen under, dare I say it, George? I hate to say it, but I mean, he would never allow his brand to be laughed at on an international scale, and he would make some changes. But the Yankees are different now. The Yankees are completely different, and I'm sure that people in the modern era love that, because it's a different era, and and but I mean, if you look at it, for instance, right, the way that the Yankees talked up Aaron Boone after they gave him uh, after they picked up his option, right? They haven't given him anything; they picked up his option, and it was all about, oh my god! I mean, it was all about how his communication and his relationship and his cultivating cultivating relationships and blah 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 blah. Do you know what was interesting? Ruben Sierra. Did you see Ruben Sierra? God bless him, ex Yankee, absolute monster in the postseason. Did you see what Ruben Sierra said? So I've got the statement from Brian Cashman regarding Aaron Boone. Right, here we go. Aaron is a steadying presence in our clubhouse and possesses a profound ability to connect with and foster relationships with his players. Foster relationships with his players. Consistently exhibiting these skills in such demanding and pressurized market is what makes him one of the game's finest managers. Our work is clearly not done, but as we pursue the ultimate prize in 2025, I am excited to have Aaron back to lead our team. One of the game's finest managers, who seems to get outmanaged a lot to be one of the game's finest managers. Anyway, did y'all see what Ruben Sierra tweeted? The role of managers today confuses me. When I played, the manager's role was to win games, not be everyone's friend. Thank you. Thank you, Ruben. Preach. It used to be about winning games. Now it's about being everybody's friend.
Times have changed. The game has changed. And you could still be somebody's friend and be a good person and still be serious about winning. But the fact that they highlighted his relationships more than his accomplishments is where I kind of get angry. I don't take the hat off because Nikki said something.
No, no. If he can't take me seriously, this is important. I'm saying some important shit. I'm spitting here. So if you ain't taking me seriously, you better take me seriously now, brother.
Yeah, and he is holding a press conference in like 20 minutes, so it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. Probably a whole lot of nothing. But I'm hoping for once, which we know is probably just wishful thinking, that this media asks him some tough questions. Like why is it, what do you have to say about the Dodgers comments? Why were you out of position? If he just gives us the same, oh no, we did a great job, then people are just going to turn the channel and turn it off and not want to listen to it. I need to hear, if we get a different Aaron Boone at this conference, like an accountable Aaron Boone, that'll be a nice change of pace, but I'm going to hold my breath on that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not even going to watch it. I'll probably see what clips are coming out on X, and then I'll probably spontaneously combust, probably rant a little bit on X about the direction of the Yankees, and then move on with my day. I can't listen to Aaron Boone. I can't. His post game press conference said it all about Aaron Boone's Yankees. Some people like it. I'm not saying that I speak for everybody. There's some people that like it. Some people like this emotional guy. They sometimes like managers that are friends with everyone. That's not my bag. Everyone's different. It ain't my bag. I'm kind of old school. I come from the era of Lupinella, Joe Torre, those kind of guys. Now, Joe Torre is obviously a very relaxed guy, but he also had a side to him, which he didn't want to cross, because he knew the game inside out. I've not seen that from Aaron Boone, and obviously as Giant fans, we grew up with Tom Coughlin, and that's the kind of stuff that I like to see from a leader. It was a guy that he did foster relationships, but you also had to be a bit of a hard ass, And that's what the modern generation don't understand about like guys like Tom Coughlin. They think that all he did was just drill sergeant, kick people up the ass, and then abuse them. Not at all. You still sit down with these guys and you still talk to them one-on-one to try and get another level out of them. That's a manager. If they don't reach that level, then yeah, shit has got to go down. That's only right. But for some reason, that's been bypassed. And what I'll never understand about Brian Cashman is he knows the key. He's won multiple World Series. He knows the key to winning a World Series. He's not stupid, because me and Rob know the key. The people in this chat know the key, right? It's not like a magic elixir. It's not anything that you have to, it isn't like anything massively groundbreaking. You kind of know the key to winning championships. Accountability, making some tough moves, having a good team on the field that hit the clutch, make big plays when needed. It's nothing massively groundbreaking, but Brian Cashman seems to have missed the boat on that because he just seems to have gotten comfortable. And Hal's very, very comfortable with it, and us as fans shouldn't be comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, look, you need to have a mixture. You can't just be everybody's buddy and be like, don't worry, you'll get him next time. Because the glaber benching should have been an eye opener. Like, hey, a little bit of tough love. Cause remember when Glaber was trying to like plead his case to Boone, and he just kind of like just brushed him aside, like, no, you're out of the game. That was like something we hadn't seen in years from Aaron Boone, and we're like, okay, there's some. And then even after the game, it was a different tone, but it changed the season for Glaber Torres.
Mm-hmm.
So shouldn't that have opened the eyes to be like, we should be a little bit less friendly. We should be a little bit less loyal to these guys that aren't performing well. Like, case in point, Alex Verdugo was underperforming for like 3 months, but yet did not want to take him out of that starting lineup. it was the blind loyalty to some of these players that needed to change, and I thought that should have been the start. Not saying they got to go around and throw players under the bus. I don't want to see the manager do that. Never. I love the way Aaron Boone defends his players. I love the way that he will go to bat for his players no matter what. But sometimes a little bit of tough love and a little bit of constructive criticism can go a long way in earning respect for a manager. I don't think Aaron Boone's a terrible manager. I just think he's a little too loyal when he doesn't need to be and a little too friendly. But at the same time, we've seen few instances where he can have that fire in him to make a change that's a tough decision. And that's just kind of what we need. I think Aaron Boone has the makings to be a great manager.
I don't see that. I agree with you to a point, but I think great is a statement. I just don't see great. He's had 6 years to be great. He's never been. He can't prove he's great. He's proven he can be okay. I think that's his level. I think he's okay. What would you say to that?
I guess, yeah, but we did just make it to. It's difficult to get to a World Series. He finally got there. I know we didn't win, but a lot of those issues weren't necessarily his fault. Some of them were. I think they need to get the analytics down to a point because it's ruining this organization. It's ruining.
That's it. Because an earlier point that I made was like the Dodgers scouted the fuck out of the Yankees. What did the Yankees do to scout the fuck out of the Dodgers? I don't think they did.
No, because they were pitching Freeman inside every time, and he was continuing to hit home runs against them. So
right. So
I like Damien's point here. That's fine if you disagree. That's perfectly fine. I understand. I'm just saying personally, I've said this 2 years ago. In the first half of 2022, did we criticize Aaron Boone at all? Once they started to lose, it's like they went back to their old ways of let analytics run the show. Because it seemed like he was a different manager. They were calling hit and runs. They were stealing bases. They were doing different things. Situational bunting, which I never really liked, but it was working. So, and we saw that this year. When they were winning games, it was a different Aaron Boone. Once the things started to go south, he reverted back to, like I said the other day, factory settings. And it's just weird that when they start losing, it's like, does the front office take over for him? Because I don't know. Is it the analytics staff? If they brush that aside and just clean house on the analytics staff and shorten it a little bit and get some new blood in there, maybe things will change. Because there's no staff that should tell you playing several guys out of position is the way to win a championship.
No, it's not.
And I can't be like that's Aaron Boone's fault if they're bringing in Jazz Chisholm and saying we're going to have him play third. Now, can Aaron Boone fight that? Absolutely, but we know that this is all coming from Cashman himself. Like, Cashman's the one that's going to... We can't say that's not the case now. We've been saying it for so many years. Cashman calls the shots around here. Boone's his puppet, so we can't say that now. I'm sure that Boone... I'm not trying to defend the guy like they should give him a 5-year extension. If he's gone after this year, fine. I'm not going to wish he was back, but
so.
I think he could be better. Maybe not great. I think he could be a much better manager than what he is now if he was just allowed to do things his way. Because he is a great baseball mind. You can't have a family that he does and not know the sport top to bottom. I'm sure there were some things.
Didn't Cashman say Boone is allowed to go off script? But if he goes off script, he better be right. That's spot on. I mean, you could paint it. You could put lipstick on a pig. But at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's Aaron Boone is a puppet to Brian Cashman and the front office, right? And that's just it. You can say it a roundabout way all you want, but that's the end of the day. He is. But for me, everything that we need to know about Aaron Boone was in that fifth inning. Everything we need to know about Aaron Boone's level as a manager was absolutely evident in that fifth inning. The fifth inning, everything started to implode, right? The whole world was starting to implode, right? Around the whole Yankee world, I should say. The whole Yankee world was imploding. And Aaron Boone was sitting on the top dugout step, chewing seeds, blowing pink bubbles, and doing nothing while balls are being thrown all over the infield the craziest shit you will ever see in the history of a World Series was happening in that fifth inning. Garrett Cole, I mean, he was getting robbed blind by his own teammates, right? And Aaron Boone did nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just chewing seeds, looking kind of, looked a little bit woebegone and a little bit like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. And that's not a manager. A real manager here says, Blake, Matt, Blake, go speak to Garrett Cole, right? Yo, Anthony Rizzo, go speak to Garrett Cole. Aaron Judge, our captain, wherever you are, brother, get over here and be a captain. Take these guys aside, talk to them, right? Calm this situation down. Break this momentum down. Let's stop this momentum. But no, Aaron Boone, just like, it was like Rome was burning in front of him, and he just watched it. And that is not a manager. And that is, I don't want to hear Brian Cashman saying he's the finest manager in the game, because he got completely outmanaged by a above average manager at best in the Dodgers manager. Roberts is above average. He's fine. He's nothing great. He's made some dumb mistakes in the past, but he does what needs to be done. But I absolutely saw the Dodgers' body language, and they were looking at that Yankee dugout like, these dudes are a bunch of clowns. I saw Roberts look at Aaron Boone like he was a frickin' clown. So, I'm sorry. Aaron Boone's not the finest manager. Sorry, Brian Cashman. You are full of it, bro. You are absolutely full of it. You're just friends with Aaron Boone, and you just like the fact that Aaron Boone can't challenge you. That's because you've got such a massive ego. That's a fact, right? You can't have a manager like a Joe Torre question you. You can't have a manager like even a Joe Girardi back down from what you're asking from your analytics. You can't have anybody do that. You have to have an Aaron Boone go, yes, Brian, whatever you say, Brian. We love you, Brian. And that's it. It's the ego. Aaron Boone's not shown anything that would make you think that he's capable of winning a World Series. Not at all. Because as I mentioned, you had Garrett Cole pitch out of his mind. You had Big G playing out of his mind. You had Juan Soto playing out of his mind. And they got us only so far. But you still can't overcome managerial incompetence. And this is not just an Aaron Boone problem. It's a Mike Fishman problem, because nobody seemed to scout the Dodgers at all. And it's a Brian Cashman problem because the Yankees should have been a better team. Brian Cashman, and this is something I'll point past to Rob here. At the trade deadline, Brian Cashman was going up against the Dodgers on a bunch of players, and lost out on every single one of them. And guess who ended up winning the World Series? Maybe had Brian Cashman taken advantage of the fact that you had all these things in your favor, you have a Juan Soto playing out of his mind, you have an Aaron Judge playing out of his mind, why didn't you go and get those bullpen arms to put you over the top? So a lot of that is on Brian Cashman, Rob. What would you say?
I mean, we've been saying this for years now, that until the front office changes, we shouldn't expect much changes from the management, because it's run from a system. We know this. The analytics runs the show. The Yankees say it doesn't, but we know it does, because they've had the same staff in place since 2007, I think. So you're looking at almost 2 decades of the same exact staff in there, and it doesn't do the job that other teams do. The Dodgers have great scouting. They saw the Yankees' weaknesses, and they exploited it. So again, I don't still want to feel like I'm repeating myself for the same thing I've been saying for 4 years. It's an organizational problem. You're absolutely right, Medina. Until those things change, and that goes to an earlier point by Damien, both Boone and Cashman have 1 year left. Is this their last chance? And if it's their last chance, they better have Juan Soto, because then they're going to go out whimpering and not going out fighting. So that's all to go back to the earlier show, because I guess Ken's getting a little restless.
Yeah, let's bring up Ken's point. Ken, what are you trying to say here? What are you trying to say, brother? Rob, continue.
There's only so much time we can spend about Juan Soto going on a meeting. I mean, everyone said the same thing. You go to every single show. It's just how much you think Soto's going to make. How many years would you give him? until these meetings happen, there's not much else we can say with Juan Soto besides make sure he's here. You just got to do whatever it takes. That's really it. And it goes to the earlier point. It ties in. If they want to go out fighting and prove that they should still be here past this season, you need Juan Soto. Everything's a branching storyline here when it comes to the start of the show and how we're wrapping it up. Everything ties together. So you need Juan Soto if you want to get back to the World Series and try to prove everybody wrong that you can win. If they want to go and prove to everybody that is doubting them, that includes us, that includes fans, that includes people around the sport, that includes their rivals, like other executives, you need Juan Soto to do that. And you need Aaron Judge to be better. They need to figure out what their deficiencies. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So maybe they are looking at this internally and saying, okay, what can we do to change these? What can we do to change what happened in the World Series to make sure it doesn't happen again? Maybe they're doing those things. Hopefully they are. But if they want to prove a lot of people wrong, you need Juan Soto to get back to where you were last year and hopefully be the ones holding that trophy. So this is their chance, and it might be their last chance. But let's go see if they do it. But it does not take away the fact that, as we said at the start of the show, as we said every day during the season, Juan Soto has to be a part of it. Because if he's not, you're going to have a very difficult time getting back to a World Series and winning a World Series. He is that much of a difference maker. And he showed that this year. So if he's not back, you better have a damn good plan B, plan C, plan D. What's up, Alex? To make sure that you can get back to the World Series. But Juan Soto has to be a part of this thing.
Yeah, and this goes to Ken and anyone else, right? You're thinking that this is just an Aaron Boone bash fest. No. You have to look at the bigger picture, right? What we're saying is Juan Soto is absolutely a necessity, right? But it shouldn't preclude the Yankees from looking at the bigger picture here and saying, okay, we had a Juan Soto having an amazing year, but there are still issues here, whereas the Dodgers seem to know everything that we were going to do before we knew we were going to do it, right? So what I'm saying is this is an organizational thing where, yeah, you have to pay Juan Soto whatever it takes, okay? No question about it. But the bigger picture here is that we still have organizational things that we need to fix. Fundamental issues. Defense, guys playing in the right position, holding people accountable, running the bases better. All these fundamental issues and scouting and analytics, all these things have to coincide with Juan Soto. If Juan Soto is our only offseason move, that's fine. We'll make sure that we'll definitely make the playoffs. Great. But we're not going to take that next level and win a World Series unless those issues that we're pointing out is addressed. Rob.
And that's it. That's all we're trying to say. I'm not the one. I'm not going to call for anyone's job here. I don't want to see people get fired. I mean, there's a point where I was definitely get Aaron Boone out of this team, but the only other choice I could have seen replacing him was Skip Schumacher, and I just don't see the Yankees making that move. So it is what it is with Aaron Boone, but you have to fix the internal issues if you expect the on-field product to be better. That's all we're saying, and that ties into the GM, and it ties into the manager. You can bring Juan Soto back, but unless you change those things that we've been talking about for a whole season now, it's going to be a lot of the same. You might get back to the World Series, but if you're playing the Dodgers again, you might have the exact same result. So if you want a different result, you've got to look internally and see what's wrong with yourself, and I'm talking about the Yankees here, and make sure you fix those things. It's the same thing in life. There's a life coaching moment. If things are going wrong for you, maybe take a deep look at yourself and say, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And try to change it. Because sometimes things around you could be great. You got a great roster. You've got all this money. You've got Aaron Judge. You could hopefully have Juan Soto. You got Garrett Cole. You got Stanton. You got all these great players. You got a good farm system. But does it matter if what's within you is not great? There you go. There's a fucking life coaching moment. Look within yourself. Look in the mirror and say, what's wrong with me? And try to fix some stuff. There you go. Exactly. That's all we're saying. Exactly. I want this team. I want them to prove me wrong. I would love nothing more than for next season at this time to be saying, I'm wearing a World Champions jacket. I got a hat on that says World Champions and say, they proved me wrong. Because that would mean we're on top of the fucking world. But instead, right now, we're sitting here as World Series losers, second place. That means nothing. And a lot of the issues that we were talking about all season reared its ugly head in this World Series. And that's why we're still talking about it. That's why we're still mad about it. And we're going to be mad about it until the season starts, probably. Or until at least until Soto's re-signed. That might take the hurt away a little bit. But it's still not going to go away because we can't get this sour taste out of our mouth about how the season ended. It'd be a different story if they put up a 7-game fight but lost to the better team. That's a different story. But we got embarrassed.
Before we sign off, let's address 2 points here from Nick. If you get Soto, you still need help in the rotation. And Regil, Soto comes back, then what's the next issue to address? The infield, and Patrick is following up that. Great question, Regil. Can Cashman build a roster without washed-up players still having starting jobs? I don't think so. So let's address those things before we sign off. Rob, address them how you wish.
Well, I mentioned earlier that you have players that you can non-tender or trade and save a little bit of money to where you can go make a move for a guy like Nathaniel Lowe. I've been talking about him for a couple of weeks now. He'd be my ideal choice if you're going to go make a trade for a first baseman. Unless Murakami becomes available, then there's your first baseman. But you can fill out first base via trade. You can go with Peraza at third or at second. Maybe Durbin gets a shot. Maybe Vivas gets a shot. I don't know if he's ready yet. They've got to let Dominguez, they got to get this guy as early as possible working in left field this offseason. And throughout all of spring training, just make sure this guy is getting left field down pat because he's got to be your left fielder. If Soto's back, he's in right, and Judge will be in center for at least another year or two before he transitions to full-time DH. So you got to get Dominguez out there. We have the prospects. That's the thing. So it's not like we have to go add like several players. The Yankees need to get at least, I think, one really good arm in this bullpen, and they're going to still have Weaver. Let's say that's Tanner Scott. I like Cousins. He'll probably be back. They can even keep Mark Leiter. Efros should hopefully be healthy. You have a decent looking bullpen already. I don't think they have to do too much with the rotation because you still got Cole. Rodon's not going anywhere. Clark Schmidt, Luis Heel was a very good options for 3 and 4. And then it's just about filling out the 5th spot. And maybe they do get Sasaki. So there's options out there. They don't have to break the bank to add to this team. That's why I think the Yankees have a little bit in their favor. Is if they get Soto, that's going to be their big spending move. Everything else can kind of be lesser salary moves that doesn't take them too far over the 301 or even take them over 301 because the number went up $4 million this year for that final threshold. I think they're trying to avoid that.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely try to avoid that. How about making a trade for Isaac Paredes?
His stock went down because he played like shit with the Cubs. Like, I was saying I'd give up Spencer Jones for the guy, and I'm glad we didn't. He played like absolute garbage. So maybe you can get him on the cheap. That wouldn't be the worst thing. Maybe you call the Rays up and see what they want for Yandy Diaz.
Yeah, he still had a really good overall year, though. Like 19 homers, 80 RBIs, and an OPS 740. I mean, that could maybe uptick back in the American leagues. He was bad with the Cubs, but
his value could be down.
Exactly, but I thought he was great for the Rays. He was phenomenal for the Rays. I think, and that's someone that could play a bit of first, and there's somebody that could play a bit of third as well. So that could help. That could help maybe our corner infield spot. That's someone that's cheaper, maybe that you could maybe consider. Nathaniel Lowe is someone that I've always been a fan of. I think Nathaniel Lowe is someone that you could definitely target. But yeah, there's some other options as well.
I like Brendan Donovan. If the Cardinals are going full sell, Brendan Donovan can play everywhere, and I think he's a better bat than Edman was. So if you were looking for a potential second baseman and you keep Jazz at third, or if you put Jazz at second and you go Donovan at third, that could be an option. If Soto is back, Spencer Jones gets, and yeah, there's always that possibility. Maybe they just say, look, we got to trade to get something here. So Yeah, that could open up the trade possibility for Spencer Jones because there's really nowhere for him to play at that point until Judge
Yeah,
goes to DH in like 3 years.
I like how versatile Brendan Donovan is. He can play left field, second base, third base. Last year, an OPS plus of 112, so that's 12 points above average, and OPS of 759, which is above average. Slug of 417, which is solid. 73 ribbies, not much power, but batting average of almost 280, again massively above average. I mean, certainly a decent option. I like someone that can upgrade us from the left side. I'd like another lefty bat, uh, I think that's a pretty good. Ken says Paredes is a Deadpool hitter. His hitting style doesn't really sit in New York. But as Rob brings up Yandy Diaz had a really good year last year, from what I from my opinion.
Just his defense is a big question mark. I mean, you need defense at first. That's why I like Lowe a lot because he's a good defender. I
Yeah,
can live with the average bat if he's plus defender because we know a lefty in Yankee Stadium is going to hit 20 home runs by accident.
facts. Yeah, Diaz is a righty, but his numbers are excellent. His power numbers are really good, man. 755 OPS, 116 OPS plus. We have to. I think we have to go outside the organization for a corner infielder. But we've heard a lot of rumors about Christian Walker. Do you think that's something that we could get done outside of Juan Soto?
Yeah, I guess it depends on the price, plus the qualifying offer, because you have to give up international money and a pick for that. I don't know if the Yankees want to do that just yet. Especially, we don't know what Murakami's status is yet. He could be IFA, he could be regular free agent. That won't be till either this year or next year, depending on what goes down. I don't know if they want to give up that pick for an older first base. I don't think he's old, but he's like, what is he, 33 now? So I don't know if they want to go give another 33-year-old like 15 million or more because you could be stuck in another DJ LeMahieu situation.
Yeah, he is 33. I
But he's
prefer
a
to go with Soto.
fantastic defender, though.
He is. Insane year. 26 home runs, 84 ribbies, 800 OPS, thank God, and an OPS of 121, OPS plus of 121. An update from Bob Nightingale. At least 6 teams plan to aggressively pursue free agent first baseman Christian Walker. It includes the Yankees.
Nightingale, take it with a grain of salt because he said we were aggressively in talks for Flaherty, and that didn't go anywhere. So
Jason from 161 suggested trading Will Warren and Clark Schmidt for Brandon Donovan and Ryan Hensley.
the
Okay.
Cardinals
Well, I
would
don't think
laugh
Clark
at you.
Schmidt's going to get. We're not trading Clark Schmidt. I don't see any.
No.
I don't see Clark Schmidt as a possibility because he's affordable and he's given you above league average pitching.
He's fine.
Yeah, he's absolutely fine. Now, is he going to be a number one or number two? No, but I think he's a number three. I think he's a solid number three, and you're not going to go wrong with that. But we do absolutely need to get another starter. And I would love Sasaki. That would be freaking great. But
Sasaki's the dream.
what about Blake Snell, though? We missed out on him last year. Blake Snell started to get really good once he got into a rhythm because Boris took that away from him. But he pitched well towards the end of the year. Maybe we revisit Blake Snell.
I don't know how much money they want to put in that rotation. Unless you're trading Stroman, because if you, well, don't do that, Patrick. Jason's got great stuff. I mean, I don't like that trade suggestion at all, but Jason's great. I would suggest you resubscribe. Anyway, I don't know how much Blake Snell's going to want because he just turned down what, 30 million for next year or something like that. Is he going to get that again? I don't know how much his option was for. I think it was like a little bit under, maybe around 30 million. Do you want to give 30 million to Snell now when you already have to pay Cole and Rodon? Unless you're trading Stroman, I can see it. I wanted Blake Snell last year, but I also wanted Dylan. This is why I wanted Dylan Cease so badly, because he would have been costing us like $10 million this year for a number 2 starter to be our number 4 starter. Max Fried would be great. There's some
Now
injury
you're
questions with him.
language, Eddie.
I love
I would
Max
love.
Fried, but if they can get Sasaki, that's where it should start and end, because it cost you nothing for Sasaki. That dude is fan freaking tastic, but I would be shocked if he's not a Dodger or a Padre.
I want Max Fried. Max Fried's my guy. He's one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. Absolutely. If we could make that happen, absolutely. Don't see it happening because he's going to be really, really expensive, and a lot of teams are going to want him. And I think the Braves would be really stupid to let him go. Really stupid. But sometimes the Braves do surprising things that make not a whole heap of sense because they tend to have some of the greatest talent and just let it walk out the building. Uh, Li is saying Fried is going west. Go west. One person we hope isn't going west is Juan Soto.
Yes.
So
Stay east.
And let's hope that he doesn't head across the bridge to Queens. That would kind of suck too. But we will wait to see how that goes. Brad says, thanks for the update, dude. Says Dominguez will either be in center field or left field depending on how things play out. And well, we'll wait and see. We will wait and see. I'll need to see it to believe it because the Yankees didn't exactly love Dominguez. Didn't exactly give him much of a chance.
But at least it's November 11th, and they're already saying this guy's starting somewhere next year. I would much rather hear that than him be like, well, we're going to wait and see how it plays out in spring training.
True. That's spot on.
Raziel, never. They're never going to stop doing that. That's the Yankee MO.
FJ, I do agree. The Yankees need to corner the Japanese market because it's happening too often now. There's a lot of talent that's going over to Chicago, and almost all the talent is going to Los Angeles. The Yankees need to get a corner, need to get a hold of that market because of the success that the Yankees have had with the Japanese market. Not only does it help on the playing side of things, but it also helps in the business side of things. We had Hideki Matsui, and he was absolutely amazing, and you name it. We've had some of the greatest Japanese talent. So
Kuroda, Ichiro,
Tanaka. We even had Ichiro. We had a ton. We need to get it back. We need to corner that market. So if we can get Sasaki, you have to do it. You have to. No messing around. Teoscar Hernandez wants to go back to the Dodgers, and he's someone that'll do whatever it takes to go back to the Dodgers. Anyway, that's for a future podcast. We will absolutely keep an eye out on things. If there's any breaking news, you can always trust that we will hop on and do a show. But in the meantime, we will see you on Wednesday, barring any crazy exciting things. As Rajiel says, let's go Yankee family. Salute to everyone in the chat. We were almost up to 60 people this morning, which is awesome. So salute to you guys for checking us out on a Monday morning. Have a great rest of your day. We will see you on Wednesday. Hit that like button. Hit the sub button. Rob, give us your final thoughts, my guy.
Yeah, let's hope the meeting goes well with Juan Soto. Aaron Boone said he plans to fly with Hal next week. Thank you, Brad, for the updates. We appreciate that. And I do appreciate Brad. He's been keeping me up to date with some international news in the free agent market as well. So, Brad, if you got any more information for me, please send it my way because I do appreciate it, my dude. All the way out there in the down under. I may disrespect Australia a lot, but we love you, Brad, and we appreciate the updates.
And as Uncle Tats likes to say, Rob, what does Uncle Tats like to say?
Oh, while he's not out fishing and turning red as a tomato, he is always saying, wear those pinstripes of pride and play hard.
Play hard. And hit the like button. Come on, guys. See you on Wednesday.
Exactly.